I let my kids think I was a corporate sellout with no hobbies, because my real hobby was keeping them from being poor. Growing up, I was a musician. I lived for my guitar. I played in a band that actually had a decent following in the Pacific Northwest, lived in a van, and thought stability was a dirty word. Then I met my wife, and a year later we had twins. I didn't just get a job. I became the ultimate corporate dad. I traded the leather jacket for ironed khakis and a polo shirt. I took a high-stress, soul-crushing job in logistics and supply chain management. It was boring, it was repetitive, and it paid incredibly well. For 20 years, my kids saw me as the boring guy. I was the dad who talked about spreadsheets, obsessed over the lawn, and went to bed at 9:30 p.m. When my son was 17, he got into a rebellious phase. He told me, "You don't understand what it's like to have a passion, Dad. You just care about your 401k and making sure the gutters are clean. You've never taken a risk in your life." I just nodded and told him to finish his homework. What he didn't know was that every single morning for 20 years, I woke up at 4:30 a.m., not to exercise, but to sit in the basement with my headphones on and play my guitar for 1 hour. It was the only time I felt like me, but I never played when they were awake. I didn't want them to see me as a frustrated artist. I wanted them to see me as a rock-solid foundation. The real sacrifice wasn't the music, though. It was the secret fund. Starting the day they were born, I took every bonus, every holiday gift from my company, and every penny I made from selling my vintage gear and put it into an account they didn't know existed. I lived like a monk. I wore the same 3 pairs of work shoes for a decade. I told my wife I just liked cheap coffee and didn't need a new phone. When they both got into expensive private universities, they were panicked about student loans. My son actually suggested he shouldn't go, because he didn't want to be trapped in a cubicle like me just to pay off debt. On high school graduation day, I handed them each a folder. It contained a check that covered 4 years of tuition, room and board, plus a small starting life stipend. My daughter cried. My son was speechless. He asked, "How did you do this?" "We aren't rich." I just shrugged and said, "I'm a boring guy who likes spreadsheets, remember? I just manage the budget well." They think I'm a wizard with a checking account. They don't know that the money was actually 20 years of my self sold off piece by piece. They don't know I sold my 1962 Gibson Les Paul to pay for their first year of braces. They see me as the boring success story. They don't realize that being boring was the hardest, most calculated performance of my life so they could have the freedom to be exciting. TLDR, I gave up my life as a musician and my entire personal identity to be a boring corporate dad, secretly hoarding every cent for 20 years so my kids could go to college debt-free without ever knowing the cost.